is a rant that's long overdue. If you base your entire political fucking philosophy around Donald Trump, you're an idiot. And there is no sugarcoating it. You're a moron. You are not someone who is a serious political thinker, and your opinions are not worth taking seriously. If you're one of the people who believes in QAnon, if you're one of the people that believes that 2020 was stolen from Donald Trump, if you're one of the people that believes that what the idiots did at the Capitol was morally right, then you're a schmuck. And you're someone who does not understand politics on a deep level. You understand it on a very childish level. But you don't understand it in terms of how it actually affects people. What policies will benefit people in the long and short term. And what is ultimately good for the United States. If you think some fucking boomer born in 1946 is going to be the great savior of America, a guy who calls $1 million a small loan. By the way, that was the 1960s when he was given that money. So let's add that into perspective for inflation. Let's put how much that will be in inflated or in 2015 dollars. Let's put that there. Do you think that's a small loan? No. Yet you think this is a guy who understands the working man. A man who has never done an honest day's work in his life. The man's a crook. The man thinks like a crook. The man is an authoritarian. It's his nature to be an authoritarian. I do believe Donald Trump is a fascist, but I don't believe he is someone who believes in the fascist philosophy. But he used a lot of fascist ideas and a lot of fascist tactics to win, to hold on to power, and how he governed. This is a man who is beyond delusional. This is a man who is pathetic. And there are people out there who see him as a savior, who believe every word he says. A man who admitted at CPAC recently that he lies all the fucking time. Now, can you really trust the words of a liar who says he lies all the time? In an odd way, I think that's the most honest thing he's said in his whole fucking life. The rise of Donald Trump was something that frightened me. His entire presidency was frightening to witness, especially in the last year of it. Joe Biden has been a mixed bag. But you still have people in this country who are so obsessed with this Trumpism, with this Trumpian way of thinking. It's likely he will be the Republican primary winner in 2024. Now, why the fuck doesn't he just fuck off in Florida and just live out his days being a miserable old bastard? Because he has a huge fucking ego. And his ego can't stand the fact that he lost to Joe Biden, a man who has a hard time forming a coherent sentence when asked a difficult question. Now, Trump is the least articulate person we had as president of the United States. Even less articulate than W. But Biden's not one of the most articulate presidents we've had either. I do find it hilarious and rage-inducing, the levels of devotion that some people have towards Donald Trump. Because it is so childish. It's a level of thinking that I just can't stand. And there is another factor that pisses me off about it. The arrogance. The arrogance of these people. The self-assuredness of these people. That they believe their conspiratorial nonsense is right. And that they'll be vindicated. Because if they're not vindicated, they'll just storm the Capitol again. That's what the conclusion is. If we don't get what we want, we'll riot. Now, oftentimes, I go back to what Martin Luther King said about riots being the language of the unheard, which I think is, frankly, true. It's something that is true, but it's also something that I think doesn't apply here. Because what happened at the Capitol wasn't about economic anxiety. It wasn't about job loss. It wasn't about a bunch of poor people who got fucked during the pandemic staging a rebellion. I still think it would have been horrifying, even if those were the reasons. But those weren't the reasons why they fucking stormed the Capitol. These people stormed the Capitol for a fucking fraudster, for a tyrant, for a wannabe dictator, a man who did everything he could to try to secure his illegitimate presidency when he lost. We had military generals genuinely worried if he was going to order the military to perform a coup, like a military coup d'etat to stay in power. You had military officers who were going to refuse that order. You had people in his administration who were so worried of how demented he was, of how far he would go. And yet, you had people who stormed the fucking Capitol because dear leader told them to. It's pathetic, it's sad, and it's horrifying. It's a wonderful cocktail of clusterfuckery, and it is absolutely rage-inducing that people still follow Donald Trump. People call anyone in the Republican Party who didn't do what Trump said a traitor. People are in this cult mindset that's scary, and I worry about these QAnon people who are appearing left and right. I mean, after people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and that other chick who I can't fucking remember. You have all these crazy anti-Semitic QAnon people getting into government, making laws. There's only one way to counter that, and that's to run for local office. I would suggest if you are passionate about leftist ideals, or even liberal ideals, that you stand firmly against these Trump Republicans. Because this is going to be like Reagan's revolution times 10 if we're not careful. And that's a horrifying scenario. And unlike the 80s, where we had time to prevent the apocalypse, because that's what climate change is. It's a borderline apocalypse. We don't have the time. So you have to fight these people like hell. You have to run against them. You have to run to ensure the future of the United States and to ensure that society doesn't go down a darker path than it's already gone down. I'm not even sure if I really had a clear topic for this video. I know the topic was anti-Trump, anti-Trumpism, and venting about the stupidity that drives it. But if these people gain power, that's truly terrifying. You know, it's easy to laugh at a Trump rally and go, look at these dumb motherfuckers. But it's a lot scarier when you see these motherfuckers getting sworn in to lawmaking positions. If you're a Republican, it's your duty to primary those people within your party. And if you're a Democrat, it's your duty to obviously run against those people. Even if you're a third party candidate, it's your duty to run against those people to make sure that they don't make this clusterfuck of a country that much more of a clusterfuck. So, With all that being said, live long and prosper and have a good day. And, hopefully next video will be a lot less angry.